Hello, Emmanuel Shachaf.
Hello, hello.
Identity, the quest for Israel's future. We are starting the next elections campaign in Israel for the coming 4 months. Yair Lapid just entered Balfour. He's the new prime minister in Israel, and you had the opportunity the last weekend to hear with your own ears and to witness a few leaders of the Palestinians, the Israeli Arab leaders. Please
Yes.
show your recognition, your understandings.
I participated in an event in Baqa El Gharbia where Ayman Ouda from the Joint List presented his view of the situation. Ayman Ouda's list has six, at this time, 6 members of Knesset, and he's in the opposition. And he pretty much clarified that that's where he'll stay. If he will continue to lead the Joint List, it doesn't look like he's going to be willing to cooperate with any coalition that is possible. He's a man of principle. Not less, he's less of a politician, and under the circumstances, because of the juxtaposition vis-a-vis Mansour Abbas from the United Arab List, who did cooperate with the Jewish parties, he may lose his position as leader of the Joint List in the upcoming race for head of the party. That remains to be seen, but I think his position is a little extreme, even for those who support his list. So,
from your perspective, Emmanuel Shachaf, do you think he's just posing because he's having a campaign right now, and afterwards he might be a part of the next coalition, or you're saying he's leaving the coalition to Mansour Abbas?
No, I think he's not minded towards coalition at this time. I think, first of all, he played that role in the last month of the Knesset. He didn't cooperate. And didn't show willingness to cooperate, and he was willing to risk the government going down. And I think that's really his position, and he's going to go with that all the way, for good or for worse.
Let's talk a bit about the new house of Yair Lapid, the Israeli Prime Minister.
Yeah, Yair Lapid, who just became Prime Minister, is about to move in, or actually moved in already in Jerusalem, into one of the buildings which are close to the Prime Minister's office, the home of the Prime Minister in Jerusalem, in near Balfour. The building is owned by the I'm looking for the word. I don't remember.
The Palestinians that were part.
The building was owned by Palestinians, and after the war, after the War of Independence, became part of being run by the Israeli administration in charge of left property, abandoned property. I think Lapid missed an opportunity here to make a reference to that. He could have said, I know that I'm moving into a building that has history and that has been part of the Palestinian property in the past, and this is something we still have to address. We have to deal with it. But I think, in retrospect, that's maybe was expecting a little bit too much from him. He's not a left. He's center right more than anything else. But maybe his position as Prime Minister will lead him to think similarly to Arik Sharon, that what you see from here you don't see from there, and he'll be able to adjust.
To adjust, or maybe just to show respect, or to show compassion, or to show
empathy.
Exactly. That's all. Because
that's all we need at this time. Yeah.
That is going to be more than enough, especially when it comes from the Israeli Prime Minister, and Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is about to come for a visit. Expectations aren't very high. Not so much definitely not from the Palestinians, who are very angry over the lack of American engagement in favor. They feel bad about what happened with the investigation of the death of the journalist Shirin Abu Akleh, that didn't turn out the way they wanted it to turn out. They are very angry about the fact that how they were bypassed with the Abraham Accords.
They're completely not there.
They're not there. They participated in making it happen that way, but there was just no thought given on how to really engage them, and this is not good.
Why, from your perspective? Because practically, as you were saying, the conflict and the Palestinians are almost officially absent from the dialogue.
Completely, they're completely absent from the dialogue. They're not part of the dialogue. Not only are they not absent from the dialogue, we are now going into the 5th election in 3.5 years, where the subject of the conflict and the occupation is not on the agenda at all, which is ridiculous. Okay, if you think about the implications, what it means. Okay, the one thing which is looming in the background, which is every day we have instances. Every day we have a situation in the West Bank where Palestinians get killed.
In Jenin.
In Jenin today, some youngster was killed. A few days ago, a Palestinian prisoner died in prison. It's always on. It's happening all the time, but we don't talk about it.
So you're saying that we're not talking about, and Gideon Levy in the event in Bak el-Garbia gave some unique perspective why.
He made an interesting comment. As you probably understand, the two-state solution is not relevant anymore, and we are basically going over to a dialogue. That the dialogue relates to one-state alternatives. Gideon Levy said, and correctly, that Arabs cannot talk about a one-state alternative. They cannot, because the moment Arabs in Israel talk about a one-state alternative, Jews will scream that they're talking about the destruction of the Jewish state. So only Jews can actually talk about a one-state scenario. And they will. Okay, I won't be the only one, but this is quite obvious. Gideon Levy obviously has been talking about it for quite a while. He's very far on the left, but also centrists will soon start talking about the one-state scenarios or federation.
Let's talk a bit about what you've heard that is happening in the occupied territories regarding implementing the Israeli law there.
Yeah, the implementation of criminal law in the West Bank, in the territories, is being abused widely by the authorities to put a lot of pressure on the Palestinians, and the law is being applied completely without clear lines. It's the fact that the commander of the central command is the actual sovereign, or he's the one who calls the shots. He can change the law. He can literally change the law and adjust the law to the needs of the authorities, of the security authorities. Makes it possible to jail anybody for almost anything and change the rules as we go. And that puts a lot of pressure on the Palestinian population, and this is an accumulated aggravations, which will eventually, somebody will have to pay for this. Okay, and the day will come, and this is going on and on and on. Also, the administrative detentions, which take care of detaining hundreds of Palestinians without legal recourse, without warrant, without legal supervision. They just need to get the signature of the commander of the West Bank, of the Central Command, and this is weighing heavily on the future, and we will have to deal with it.
Do you think there is any upside, any good news that we can summarize this report?
The good news is that after many years of having a non-official policy of segregation in the dormitories of Tel Aviv University, where Jews and Arabs were kept in separate buildings or floors, Now it will be possible for Arabs and Jews to live together in the same building, in the same floors, and even the same rooms, if they want so. And apparently, several dozens have already indicated that they want, and that's a good indication. I hope it also extends to other universities in Israel.
Emmanuel Shachaf, at the end of this report, the headline, the main message that you would like to refer from here.
Situation is difficult, mixed, not unclear. There's signs of hope, but we'll have to work hard to make it happen.
Emmanuel Shachaf, people that want to be part of the community of identity, the quest for Israel's future, of the federation, where can they approach you?
Facebook, Emmanuel Shachaf, or the Federation Movement, or Identity, the quest for Israel's future.
For lectures, for books, for being part of this report, for dialogue, respectful dialogue.
Respectful dialogue.
Emmanuel Shachaf, thank you very much.
Thank you.